He's doing his countdown, but then a young woman comes up and he ends up being surprised by her. He ends up hitting her, and he looks at her. She tries to hit him, but she misses and he's the one hitting her again, telling him to turn that off. She keeps telling him to turn that thing off, and they finally do it. She says she's all wet now, and he didn't have to touch her for that. She says it's her own fault for stopping by to talk to him. She asks him if he knows someone named Amanda who lives nearby, and he raises his hand for her, saying that he's Rodrigo and he's there to serve her. She says she'll not touch him, and he laughs at her. She says she didn't have to talk to people like him. He likes women like that, and that's when he realizes that something is lying on the ground. He takes it and then he starts to check it out and he sees the name Lily inside. He starts to yell for her, but the other woman comes by and asks if he can't see her standing there, that he's hitting on this girl right in front of her. He says there's nothing between them anymore, that she fooled around with the entire neighborhood. He tells her to stop doing this little show whenever he comes closer to any woman, that he knows she was jumping the fence. He came down to help her because he's a gentleman, and he hasn't forgiven her or anything. He says that he'll never forgive her for what she did, that they'll never get together ever again. He goes and tells her to deal with that on her own, telling her that a decent woman should only know how to handle one hose. She tells him to come back, but he keeps on going. He puts on a mask and calls for Miss Lily. She tells him to get away, saying she can hurt him with that thing. He shows his face, telling her to wait, and she's not happy to see him. She asks if he wants any money, that she can go and bring him some, and that she just wants him to leave her alone. He tells her to be careful with the pointy end, and she gives a few steps back, asking him what he wants. He slowly walks in her direction, taking the umbrella from her hands and telling her to stay calm. She asks him how he knows her name, and as he leans over to her, he goes and shows her something. She asks if he can do magic now, and he says that she's so special that even the flowers were hiding from her. He leans over her once more, and she'll not fall for this cheap show. He knows she's enjoying it, and he shows a ring now. He's trying to win her over with a cheap ring, but he says she would be surprised with what you can find around. She throws it away, thinking it's from the trash. But he gives it a bite, telling her this is expensive. She'll put it on her finger if that will make him go away. He says she has to promise to not take it off then, and she says she'll do anything to get rid of him. He says he'll go then, and he takes his things but then he stops. She wants to know what he wants from her now. He says there's something else, and she just wants him to leave her alone, asking what she did to get so much attention from him. It'll be the final thing, and he shows her her passport. She recognizes it and he gives it back to her. She thanks him for that, asking him where he found it. He found it with his magic, and he blows her a kiss and leaves. She can't believe she's falling for someone who picks up trash. The man asks her where she was, and this is her ex-boyfriend. He wants to hear her answer, and she tells him that there's nothing between them anymore, that he doesn't want to build a family, to get married. As they're having this argument, Rodrigo shows up and starts to listen to them. She can't believe he always says they're still young, and he says that he can buy a dog or a car for her to forget about this and be busy with something else. She doesn't want that, telling him that she needs to marry him so she can stay in the country. He says the important thing is that they love each other, that nobody will come to deport her or anything. She tells Nathan that he got it back late and that she's engaged already. He wants to know who's the other guy she's being with. And she says that she met him 20 days ago. He's sure that this man doesn't even exist. She says he's real, that he just got back. She runs to him and he doesn't lose the opportunity of grabbing her. He can't believe she's trading him for this guy, and he takes her hand, saying that she's the love of his life. He tells her to stop playing, and she says this is not a joke, that he wants to marry her and build a family together. He can't believe this grubber is her fiancé. He tells him to show some respect, that he has his qualities, so he goes and introduces himself. He says he's not pleased with any of that. She tells him that he's the owner of an industry of recyclables, and he goes along. Nathan doesn't fall for it. And she says she doesn't have to keep talking to him, but he goes and asks her to say where she met this big entrepreneur. He says the important thing is that they met each other, and now that Nathan is sure that they're lying. Rodrigo tries to come up with something else then, and he barely puts 3 words together and thinks that's enough. He says that it sounds lovely, whatever he may have said, and he starts to create a whole scenario, saying that there was a waterfall falling slowly. That it suddenly got dark, and that even the moon stopped to watch them there. They go along with this story, and Nathan says that this all sounds too perfect to be true. She tells him that it's the truth, telling him it's time for him to go already. He knows they're lying to his face. So she'll give him real proof. He can't believe it, and she asks if he had enough. He tells her to stay with this trash guy then, that he doesn't want her anymore. He walks away and pulls her closer, asking if they're engaged. She didn't mean to do that, and that woman from before is watching them from afar. She can't believe they were kissing just now, and she tells him that she doesn't have time to waste with him. The woman suddenly comes up, saying that he's cheating on her. She can't believe that he's cheating her with the cheap version of Shakira. She says she's dying of jealousy from her. And he stops her as she was going to slap her. She tells him to hold the betrayed beast, and that sparks the fire on her again, telling her to not kiss other people's boyfriends. He tells Susan to stop whatever this is. She knows that she's right, and he tells her that he's not cheating on her. She was the one who got his brother, his cousin, the guys at the bar, and his neighbors. She immediately changes her approach, saying they can talk this over. He tells her to stop, that it'll be ugly if she goes after him again, shouting at her to leave. She's tired of hearing how low can she go, telling her to leave already. She'll not leave her man with her. And he says he's not hers. He goes and shows her the ring in Lily's hand, saying that they'll get married for real. She says they went out for 3 years and he never proposed to her, that he barely knows her and they're already getting married. He says he would be a half man if he had married her, saying he found someone very special. She knows that he can't be telling the truth about this, and now it's his time to show his ex some proof. She can't believe this, and he asks if she believes him now. She'll make him pay for this. She didn't want him to kiss her, but he says that she did the same thing, that he wanted to get rid of that crazy woman as she got rid of that guy. She says it's oranges and apples, but he's sure that she liked it, saying she can return the favor. She tells him that he'll really have to marry her now, telling him to follow her. She wakes him up, telling him to get out of her bed. He says he was sleepy, so he went to take a nap. He interrupts her, saying he was dreaming with them together, that she took the image out of his head. She needs him so she can stay in the country, so he'll spend some days at her place. A big smile curls up on his face, and she tells him to stop staring at her like that this is really important. From what he can see, she's the one who needs him, telling her to let herself go. She says they'll get married only on paper, that he'll be sleeping on the floor. He says he's the one helping, so he'll take the bed, telling her that he likes his space. She says that's not fair, but he says that he carries a lot of weight during the day, so he needs to rest. She'll not be sleeping next to him, and he goes and tells her that she can lie down on the floor then. Okay, then. She tells him to imagine a line in the middle of the bed so that nobody can trespass on their space. He says he only has eyes on his face, that he can roll over without him realizing it. She pushes him away, saying that he stinks, and he goes and tells her to behave, that she needs him more than he needs her, that he doesn't even need her, actually, telling her to enjoy it. She pushes him and they start to try to sleep. She can't sleep, so he says he'll tell her a story. He says that there's this one cool city, that it's hot there and the people don't signal when they use their cars. There was this one gentleman who looked really good, and this handsome gentleman was helping his ex-girlfriend. And he met this beautiful named Lily. He ended up soaking her with water, but he didn't mean to. He fell in love with her. She stops him now, saying that she wants to sleep, that he has said enough. He says this gentleman fell in love with her, that he fell in love with her. She tells him to stop that she doesn't want to hear this story anymore, that she can't keep listening to this, that it's making her unsettled. She now realizes that he continues to stink, telling him to take a bath. He says that he did, but that man has this smell, that he's smelling like this because of her. She tells him to watch the line and go back to his space. He stares at her for a few moments, and then he turns around, saying that he wouldn't be able to sleep looking at that. She tells him to wake up and go take a shower already, but she doesn't find him in there anymore. She starts to think that he gave up, so she keeps shouting for him and goes outside. Susan seems happy to see that he's gone, and she says she's looking for him, that he probably went somewhere. She says she found him. This is some crazy thing to do, and Susan insists that she's trying to steal her boyfriend. He already told her that they're not a thing anymore, telling her that they're gonna get married. She knows that she's an immigrant, that's why she's trying to marry someone. She says it's not that she likes him. She asks her why she likes him then. And she says that she never met someone like him, that he's funny and that he always helps other people without expecting something in return. She says being funny is not reason enough to marry someone, and she says that he's an interesting, hard worker, that she never felt like this before for anyone else. This isn't the end, you know. Susan says she'll be around, always looking out for them, and then she leaves. That's when Rodrigo comes back, all happy. She asks where he was, and he says that he heard everything she said, asking if that's what she really thinks about him. She says that he's delusional, that she said those things to get rid of that woman. He doesn't care about that woman, saying that she's the woman of his life now. He asks if she was worried about him, and she asks him where he was, to begin with. He says that every morning each day he brings something to some kids that live on the streets for them to eat and that he likes doing this for them. She listens to him but she's looking the other way, and he asks what is she looking at? Him. He comes back wiggling his tail, and he goes and kneels down, asking her to marry him. She asks what's he doing, and he says that he loves her, telling her that's her dream. He pulls her closer, saying that she's his fiancée now. He's not talking to the king of recycles, and he says that he admires his attitude. That he's putting his expensive shoes and pants on the ground like that to convince her. But he tells Nathan that he's going to talk to her alone over there. He says she wants to talk to him, telling her to accept his proposal. He takes her away before she can answer, and she says that her dream will finally come true now. He says that's not a dream, that she'll marry someone she doesn't love. She says she dreams of building a family and living in this country that she loves so much. He can't believe she's willing to sacrifice her life, her happiness, and her future, with someone who can see in his eyes that he doesn't love her. He knows that she doesn't love him too, asking if it'll be worth it in the end. He hopes she decides soon because the ground is hot. He says that he barely knows her at all, but everyone has one thing in common. Everyone wants to find someone special, to fall in love, asking her if she has found someone like that. Nathan goes straight to the point this time, asking if she'll marry him or not. They've dated for a while now, telling her to accept it or else he'll go away. Susan, as always, shows up, and Lily asks what she wants. She immediately points to Lily, telling the police officer that she's an illegal immigrant. He pulls her in, saying they're engaged, and he warns him that lying to him would be a crime, that he'll have to take them both to the police station. Nathan says that she was dating him and she was talking with this guy behind his back so she could stay in the country. Susan says he has to arrest them both, and he says that they're lying about their social status, so he'll have to arrest them. He takes her by the arm, saying she'll go back to her own country, and Rodrigo goes after them. She tells him to let her go, and he kneels down, begging the officer to not take the woman who makes him happy away like that. She's the love of his life, asking him if he ever felt like this before for anyone. He can see that he really loves her, asks her what she feels, and she says she never felt like this before. He says that she brought hope and joy to his life and that he wants to grow old with her. She wants the same thing as him, but she wants to do this the right way, saying that she needs to go with him, that he doesn't need to go through this. He says he'll take away a piece of his heart if he takes her away from him, begging her to let her stay. He won't take her, but he wants them to promise that they'll have to marry soon. He says he'll marry her today then. She asks if he's being serious. Nathan says this is an outrage, and Susan tells him to stop them, that they can't do this, He asks if they ever loved someone, and Nathan says that he was dating her, and Susan says she's his girlfriend. He says that this man doesn't love her at all, that he wouldn't tell him to arrest her if he did, that this isn't love. He says that she cheated on him with all of the neighborhood, that this isn't love. He knows what love truly is. It's what he's feeling for her, that he can't think of anything else ever since he saw her. He knows that she feels the same thing as him. That this is real. He can feel that the connection between them is different from anything else, that he knows that this is true love. She tells him that she loves him as well, and the officer says he'll be back in 1 week to see if they got all of the paperwork done by then, telling those two leeches to go mind their own business. She says this isn't fair, and he says that now that he saw her, they can leave these two behind, asking her if she wants to grab a bite or something. She likes this, saying that he looks like someone who can take her to nice places. His job there is done. He'll leave these two lovey-doveys alone and he'll go for now, but he'll be back in a week to check up on them. He tells him that they don't have the best man for their wedding, asking him if he would like that. She liked that, and he says that he'd like that, telling them they can discuss this later. It's settled then. They love each other and they're going to get married.